Had a near fatal car accident. Rainy day, car lost control, crashed into a post. Took about an hour and a half to cut the car apart, reaching in and dragging me out, along with, well, what was left of my legs.
Just when you think it can't get any worse,
It
goes and gets even worse.
What does it take to bounce back from life-changing tragedy and rise to world-class success? Today I'm joined by Steve Judge, a two-time para-triathlon world champion and a living, breathing example of resilience.
And a lot of people said to me, Steve, what's next? It's like a Superman pose. I was like, I want to be a motivational speaker. Because I thought to be a speaker, you just need a good story and a lot of confidence. And I was wrong.
From a near-fatal accident to standing on top of the world stage, Steve's journey is proof that no obstacle is too big if you've got the right mindset. He's dropping powerful insights on bouncing back, breaking limits, and becoming the best that you can be.
Hell on earth is getting to the end of your days and meeting the person that you could have become. The question is, do you accept that or do you reject it?
This episode is sponsored by Sedulo, funding experts here to help. Let's do this.
ActionCOACH, the help you need to grow your business. Who is Steve Judge in 30 seconds?
Who is Steve Judge? I describe myself as an achievement catalyst. So I empower people to achieve the life that they want to live. And I do that by sharing my story as a global speaker, from wheelchair to world champion and beyond in business.
Wheelchair to world champion, you're a catalyst for achievement.
Yeah.
So what's the story?
What's the story? Wheelchair to world champion. So, well, it goes back, 22 years now. Had a near fatal car accident.
Where was that?
In Sheffield, the outskirts of Sheffield.
Are you a Sheffield boy?
I hesitated then. I'd say yes, I am, but I was born down in Hertfordshire, in Kings Langley. Note the accent. Moved up to Yorkshire when I was 9 years old. After school, worked down the coal pits of Yorkshire. So I was a coal miner, one of the tallest and poshest coal miners that there was, I do believe. To myself, I wanted more than that.
How tall are you?
6'1".
Yeah, and that's pretty tall for a coal mine.
As a coal mine, I used to bang my head a lot. That's why you have to wear a hard hat. But I wanted more than just being a coal miner, so I took myself to Donny College and became a mechanical engineer, maintenance fitter. And so I'm now as an engineer, still working down the coal pit, but now as an engineer, constantly being given problems and having to find solutions. And I love that. So if the machine broke down the coal pit, I'd get the call, I'd go down there, fix the machine, get it up and running, and had to be ingenious on how to get those things. I don't know what those guys did to those machines down there, but they were in a bad state. You're at the coal face. So I had to get that machine running no matter what. And as soon as I did, I got the hell out of there because I didn't like the conditions too much, I must admit. But I did like the job, being given problems and finding solutions.
All right, so you grew up there. When did you have the accident?
So the accident came in 2002. Driving on the outskirts of Sheffield, rainy day, car lost control. I wasn't speeding, I wasn't doing anything wrong, just lost control on aquaplane and veered off the road, crashed into a post, bent the car in half, and everybody came to save me. Police, ambulance, fire brigade, paramedics. It took them about an hour and a half to cut the car apart, piece by piece, eventually reaching in and dragging me out, along with, what was left of my legs. And then mercy dashed to nearest hospital, where they saved my legs, but actually saved my life, because I've been through a very traumatic incident, and they didn't know if I was going to survive, didn't know if I was going to come out of the operating theatre alive or dead. And that's the situation that I was in. And that's the message that my family received that day as well.
I mean, I can see you getting a bit emotional now.
I know, it's
making me get a little bit emotional too. If you had to summarise your life before the accident, what 2, 3 or 4 words would you come up with?
Average is the first one that springs to mind. I pushed myself physically as a runner. I loved running. Running was my thing. I did it as a kid, running through the fields with my dog, doing like 10Ks, charity events. Running was my passion. Scouting, love scouting. Scouting is a big part of my life, still is. But scouting was massive from a very young age, getting those badges. Remember the badges down your arm? I love those badges. But just doing the fun, the challenge, the adventure, the life skills and the opportunities that scouting gives you. There's so many correlations with scouting and badges. The badges, I believe, are like the things that you should do in your life, as in try everything, at least try everything once. And sometimes you're good at those badges and sometimes you're not so good at that badges, but at least you've tried. And so that's what I did. I did lots of badges. I love Cub Scouts, Explorers, or Adventure Scouts as it was then. I got the top award in scouting, the Queen Scout Award as it was then. I couldn't have got any more from that, but I got so much from it. And do you know, my first 3 badges, and it might come on this later, my first 3 badges that I ever got in scouting, and I've got a photo of this, were swimming, cycling and running. And that comes into play later on in my life as well.
It does come into play later on. All right, so it's interesting though, isn't it? How would you describe your life before that point?
Yeah.
And you said average. Why did you say average?
Because I did push myself, but not to the extreme. I tried lots of things, but not to the extreme. I did 10K runs, and it was all very much about my personal best, because I was never good enough to be winning events, winning races. I was just competing against myself, and that was fine. I'm fine with that, and pushing myself in that category. You know, in my career as an engineer, you know, I wasn't going to be the top engineer. I wasn't winning awards. I just wanted to be the best that I could be at my job. So my job, my personal life, my scouting, my sport, the best that I could be. And I think that was quite average, maybe above average in certain respects, who knows. But I think all of those things, being average and pushing myself, being the best that I could be, kind of helped me later on, probably after the accident.
Well, let's do the same question for them following the accident. So how would you describe your life since?
Okay, that's a good question. So I think everything that I did before the accident was emphasized more. I think when I had the accident, I went into survival mode. I had to survive. One, just to eat, to breathe, to live. And then from that point onwards, I had to build my life back. I'd always said that the accident didn't ruin my life, it changed my life. And that's a positive way of looking at it. Changed it for what? For the good, for the bad. And for me, you know, it's just changed it. So let's see what we've got and see what we can do with it. And let's make sure that from this point onwards, we have no regrets. So big thing was rehabilitation. Doing all the physio, doing all the rehabilitation, having to grow my leg back, learn to stand again, learn to walk again. Okay, what do I have to do to make sure that I have no regrets? So the future self of me isn't angry with the present self. And that is very much about doing everything that I could do. So if the physio told me to do something, I would do it. Because if I didn't do it, there would be a consequence. And I didn't want my future self to say, you know, in the future, Steve, you idiot, what the hell? You didn't do your physio, and this is what I'm left with now. Now I can't move my legs. Now I've got hip injuries. Now I've got a back injury because you couldn't be asked to do your physio back in 2002. So I heard this voice in my head, and so I was doing everything that I could do. So what I'm saying from that is that I was using the physio that I'd done before the accident, the pushing myself to get PBs and 10Ks. I was using that as a tool to help me through my rehabilitation. I knew about setting goals and working towards them. Now it was more in survival mode. Now it's more emphasized to get me through this. And so that's what I did.
Yeah, and tell us the bits that followed getting through this, because you didn't just get through this and survive. You kind of flourished afterwards. You set some more goals. In fact, look, you wrote this book now.
I have bought a book. So that's my second book. My first book was my autobiography. My autobiography, first of all, was really important for me because as a speaker, a lot of people think they know my journey, and it used to kind of frustrate me a little bit that they'd only heard 45 minutes of it. And I thought, you haven't heard the full... I want people to understand that none of this is easy. And so my first book has got everything, warts and all. It's got the highs and the lows and the lows and the lows in it, so that people understand everything that I've been through. On the stage, it's a performance, and yes, there's a few lows, of course, but there's a lot of highs. It's entertainment. It's, you know, it's humorous. But I want people to understand the whole story. The second book was very much about making it more into a business book, so I actually help people. And I think at the root cause, that's the main thing, is my root purpose is to help people. I want to turn what I've been through, the negative thing that I've been through, into a positive. And so I'm always thinking about what more I can do to make sure that happens. And I've got lots of advice and tools and mantras and messages and quotes. And to put that into a book and get it out there, that really helps people. So that's why I wrote the second book.
Yeah, I'm going to come on to that in a second.
Yeah.
You know, part of your purpose is this catalyst for achievement that you said earlier on. But before we do come on to that, tell us the lowest point. What was the lowest point? When did it get so bad?
The lowest point, I would say, was a year after the accident, almost like the anniversary. So I'm trying to sum this up quite quickly. I'd had to grow my leg back, stretch my leg by 4 inches. I'd done that, but the consequence of that was the ligaments in my knee were not were short, so I couldn't straighten my leg, my right leg. Now, with a bent leg, I would have a limp for the rest of my life. And so the physio said, you need to get that sorted out. I said, okay, how do I do that? More physio. Okay, got it. Did that for 3 months. It didn't work. No regrets. I said, is there a plan B? They said, yes. The plan, you might not like it. I said, I haven't got a choice. What is it? It was another operation. So I now had a double cage around my right leg. To put it in a picture, it's like having scaffolding around my right leg. It was a nightmare. I was back in a wheelchair because I had been walking on crutches. So I was now back in a wheelchair. I lost my independence again. I couldn't get up the stairs. If I got into bed, I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't drive the car because I had a car with the hand controls. All of that was taken away from me a year after the accident. So in a way, big way, I felt like I was going backwards. So a year down the line after the accident, I felt I'd gone backwards from where I was. That's a real hard pill to swallow. Obviously the pain as well that I was putting myself through. I was having to twist nuts and bolts on this cage to straighten my leg every day with a spanner, and did that for 7 weeks, inflicting pain on myself. And the surgeon said, I said, how much do I turn the nuts and bolts? He says, as much as you can. Let's get this thing straight. Let's get it over and done with. So I was doing that, but then I was in so much pain. I was trying to take painkillers. I wasn't sleeping during the night. All of this was going through me, and it was hard to deal with. And because it was a year after the accident, I got a letter through the post. And in the letter was from my employers. And they said, Steve, it's been 12 months. Clearly, you're unable to come back to work. We're really sorry that we're going to have to make you redundant. So you can imagine how that made me feel. I just felt, I think I wrote it in my diary, that I just felt like I had no purpose. And I think when you get to that level in your life, that's a very dark place. And that's probably the lowest that I'd been.
This episode is sponsored by Sedulo. Sedulo Funding Solutions. Funding experts here to help. Sedulo's experienced banking and finance specialists are here to help you secure new finance or refinance existing facilities to achieve favourable terms. Large enough to deliver, small enough to care. Now back to the podcast.
Yeah, the phrase, and lots of the listeners will relate to this phrase. The phrase that comes to mind is just when you think it can't get any worse, it goes and gets even worse. And some of the listeners right now, by the way, might be experiencing that really low point. No one knows where anyone else is at. What advice would you give to anyone that's experiencing, they've gone from when you think you can't get any worse to it being the low of the low?
Okay, so I know the answer to this from experience and from what I've read, and it's still not easy to accept. But you had Paul McGee on, one of your guests. So I don't know if he mentioned it then, but he talks about a hippo time. Yeah, you just wallow. You just wallow in that mud. You just accept it. Not for too long. And while you're wallowing in that mud and giving yourself, I don't know whether that means watching Netflix, eating chocolate cake, or maybe a little bit of alcohol, not too much, but just whatever it takes just to wallow, just do it. But just have a voice. Keep talking to yourself while you're doing this, and just how long are we doing this for? And answer the question, well, I know, I feel awful at the moment, so I don't care. Okay, keep asking yourself, a day, a week, how long are we going to do this for? And eventually you're going to have to come up with an answer, because you cannot do it forever. And so you wallow in that mud and you have that self-pity just for a little bit. But at some point, you've got to realise that nobody else in the world is wallowing. It's only you. and you've got to pull yourself out of it. And how you pull yourself out of it is by taking action. And that might be reaching out and asking for help, for somebody to help you pull yourself out, because sometimes you can't do these things alone. But at some point, you've got to do something. I can only say this because I speak from experience. And when I was wallowing in that mud back in 2003, I guess it was, 4 days I wallowed and I cried every day. And it was that kind of crying that when I tried to stop crying, it didn't work. It kind of just built up like a volcano, and it would just erupt, and the tears would come again and again, and I just like gave up. But on the 5th day, I just remember seeing all the physio equipment that was just sat there collecting dust. My physio charts, I'd been very religious in doing physio and recording the results and the benchmark and doing charts and statistics and everything. None of that had been filled in. And I hated that. All that progress that I'd made was just going to ruin now. I looked at myself. I was unwashed, unshaven. I just didn't care. But actually, looking in the mirror, I did care. I didn't like who I'd become. And so what I'd always say is always think about who you want to become. But when things are really bad, just don't be the person that you are at that moment. Just take some kind of small step forward, some kind of small action. The next day, I cleaned my teeth. The next day, I had a shower. The next day, I had a shave. The day after that, I did a bit of physio. And it was day after day, small steps. It probably sounds like a cliche, but it is very much about taking those small steps to climb that mountain, just bit by bit. And eventually you'll get a bit of dopamine release, a bit of serotonin. You feel good about yourself. Grab that and start doing more of it, and start feeling good about yourself, and leave that wallowing behind you, and start thinking about where you want to go in the future. You'll be able to, with the serotonin release, you start feeling good about yourself and start thinking about where you want to be. And it's not where you are. And do that, and that will help you to progress.
Yeah, look, there's loads of things that spring into mind. I mean, first and foremost is that visual picture that you gave us there. Yeah. 4 days.
Yeah.
You were on the sofa or were in bed or wherever it was, wallowing.
Yeah.
That was 2003. It's 2025 now.
Yeah.
22 years ago. And there'll be people that can relate to that might be experiencing the wallow right now. But if you could go back, this Steve,
yeah,
and just be a voice in the head for that Steve 22 years ago, what words would you say to them? Whilst they were wallowing over those 4 days with the crying, the chronic crying, what would you say?
Okay, so I'd say you're doing the right thing by wallowing. Just keep doing it. But obviously, I want to bring myself out of that wallow phase as soon as I can. And I don't want you've got to make sure you don't rush it, I guess. It's like I talk about this wave of resilience to riding the wave of resilience to achieve. And it is about going through the motions. You've got to go through the motions. And what I mean by that is you can't speed them up. So you've got to go through the denial. You've got to go through the anger and the sharing and the wallowing, rock bottom. But then you will become to acceptance. And once you accept the situation, then you can start doing something about it. So you've got to make sure you've ticked all the boxes. So while you're in that wallowing, have you been angry? And if you haven't been angry, then flipping it, be angry. Go and slam a few doors, scream into a pillow, have an argument with somebody, I don't know, pillow fight, just sharing. Have you done the sharing? And what I mean by sharing, if you've got somebody that you can talk to, brilliant. Maybe your partner, maybe a friend, maybe a counsellor, maybe a therapist. If you're not too sure about that, maybe talk to yourself. And what I mean by that is the voice inside your head, there's nothing wrong with that. Or maybe write it down in a journal about how you feel. Maybe read some poetry that you really love and you can really relate to. Maybe it's your tunes, the tunes that you like, and you love the lyrics, and those lyrics really hear what you're going through about feeling really rubbish. I've got Spotify playlists now for all of these, for my anger playlist, my sharing playlist, my rock bottom playlist, my acceptance playlist, and it's lovely collecting those songs so that and this is the advice that I'd probably give my younger self, is to find those playlists, and although Spotify hadn't been invented in those days, but tape or CD on my iPod. But yeah, find those playlists and just press play and just listen to that music, because even though you don't want to do it, just by having it on in the background, hearing those lyrics, having that relationship with the tunes about being angry or sharing it or being in a low place will help you to accept where you are. And once you've done that, at last, then you can move on.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I got from that, actually. You can't shortcut the wallow process.
No, you can't.
But eventually, what happens is you'll go through them emotions, like you just said, and you'll get to acceptance.
Yeah.
And Mother Teresa, she said this once. She said, the only pain in life is resisting what is.
Mm.
And when you can accept what is, which is acceptance, you don't feel the pain anymore.
Yeah.
And you will get there. And I like the playlist, the music, because music takes you back. What's your favourite song?
So it probably is We Close Our Eyes by Go West.
Cool.
Yeah, we close our eyes, because when we close our eyes, we have that vision, we have that thing that we want, that thing that we believe in. And the lyrics are very much, as you're closing your eyes and you think about this, you're wasting time. Open your eyes, make it happen, take action, get on with it. Time's slipping away. So I love that. And my first book, my autobiography, I had a playlist for the journey. So it's my tunes that I used that helped me through hospital, rehabilitation, onwards through my journey as an athlete and now as a speaker. Those tunes help me. And some of those, can I just confirm, these are my tunes. You can't judge me. Yeah. They go from AC/DC to Eminem to Chesney Hawkes. So,
well, we all know the Chesney Hawkes song, but which is the AC/DC song?
Thunderstruck.
Oh, come on.
Yes. And that really helped me as an athlete. And I used that. I was doing the World Championships and South African was in front of me. And I thought, I know this, I know what to do here. I know what to do. I need to play that Thunderstruck tune. And Thunderstruck to me means overtaking somebody and not stopping and just keep going and going and going. And so that's what I did. I played the tune in my head and I caught up the South African and I hovered behind him. This is down in Hyde Park in London. Hovered behind him. And then when the time was right, I just picked up my pace, overtook him, and kept going. It's about having that elastic band that you've got to stretch until it snaps. Because once it snaps, he can't get back. Okay, if you're too close to him, he can still get back to me. So yeah, go run, almost like sprinting past him, and then onwards, and then across the finish line, and I won. But yeah, that's down to Thunderstruck, AC/DC.
Is music a catalyst for achievement?
Just the answer is yes, absolutely. It's so important to me. And I get everybody's different, but if you can find those tunes that really pick you up when you're in a low place, really power you on when you're feeling down, or really just keep you motivated when you are motivated, they're just amazing. I mean, I listened to music on the train down here today to do this podcast, very relaxing music. I was looking out the window and just being as I am myself, because that's important as well. So for Christmas, I got a sleep mask, and the sleep mask can play music. So I'm playing relaxing music to help me have a power nap, just a 15-minute power nap. The idea behind that is I'll get those certain tunes that in the future, when I hear them, they will help me relax. It's so important to relax. It's so important to be motivated. And so I like to find different tunes for different feelings that I want to experience. The tunes definitely help me. I think they can help others.
It's a catalyst for achievement.
Yeah.
And right, I'm gonna mention something out of the book, but I want you to finish it off. Actually, hell on earth is ...
Oh, hell on earth! Love this quote. So this quote was shared with me from my action coach Rob Pickering, and he shared. So the quote goes: "Hell on earth is getting to the end of your days and meeting the person that you could have become." Now, for the listeners, have a think about that. What does that mean to you? Hell on earth is getting to the end of your days and meeting the person that you could have become. The question is, do you accept that or do you reject it? Now, I was thinking about it and thinking, because if you accept it, and a lot of people go, yeah, nodding their heads, that means that when you get to the end of your days, the person that you could have become for them will be, the successful one. The one that's achieved stuff and not, lived their life with no regrets. And a lot of people nod and go, yeah. I think when I get to the end of my days, I'll regret not spending time with my family. I'll regret being in a job that I didn't really enjoy. I'll regret not being fit enough or healthy enough and being a bit overweight. And I'm like, whoa. I don't get this. It kind of gets me a little bit frustrated, this. I do not accept that quote. When I get to the end of my days, the person that I could have become will be a waste of space person, the person that watched too much television, the person that didn't get off their ass, that ate too much chocolate cake and stuff like that. When I get to the end of my days, I will be sitting there, lying there in my hospital bed, with no regrets and going, whoa, what a rush. Now, I'm not saying that I will have achieved everything, okay? That's impossible. But it's all about being the best that you can be. That is the big thing, and living your life with no regrets. If you're planning, if you think you are going to have regrets when you're at the end of your days, that tells me that you're planning to have regrets. But that doesn't make any sense to me. Why would you do that? Why would you plan to have regrets? So it's about taking that quote on board and thinking about what you need to do now, today, this week, this month, this year, the next 5-10 years, so that when you get to the end of your days, you have no regrets. What do you need to do that? And that quote really frustrated me that some people, I say some people, I did some research on this, about 80% of people get that quote. They agree with that quote. That means that 80% of people get to the end of their days and have regrets. And I'm like, this is a joke. This is crazy. Why are they doing this? So I want to change that. That's my mission, I would say, in my life and my business, is to change that so that 80% of people get to the end of their lives with no regrets. I would love to say 100%, but let's be realistic here. It's the 80-20 rule. And there's going to be 20% of people that you'll never be able to change. But I want to make sure that 80% of people get to the end of the days and have no regrets. So I'm always asking myself, how do I do that? What more can I do? What more can I do? What more can I do? By standing on the stage and sharing my journey in such a way that it changes people's life, achievement catalyst. By writing a best-selling book and people read it and take action from it, that changes people's life, achievement catalyst. By doing an e-learning course online, by doing this podcast, getting the message out there, I'm doing as much as I can to change people's life so that they think about that quote and start taking action so that they have no regrets at the end of the days. That's all I want to do.
Just the thought was going through my mind there about having no regrets. I suppose a natural excuse is I've got plenty of time to do it.
Yeah.
But you don't know what's around the corner, right? When you were in 2002, you weren't driving fast.
No.
It was a Sunday afternoon. Your life changed in an instant. If you met that person there and that was it for life, would that person have had regrets?
Would they have regrets? I don't know. I always, like I said I was quite average at that stage. So in a way, I guess the answer is yes. That I wasn't fulfilling my life to the full potential that I had. I wouldn't say that I was drifting through life or flatlining through life, but I think there's more that I could have been doing then. Whereas now I do look at life differently. As in, you don't know what's around the corner. I'm not saying I think I wake up every morning and think, oh, this could be the last day of my life. I better get on with it. But it is about, I do have a word with myself at the end of my day. So I have like a ritual that I go through before I go to sleep, with the gratitude and think about what I've done and think about what I want to do tomorrow and a little bit of deep breathing. But one of the things is, how's the day gone? Do you feel good? Any regrets? And I go, well, I did do those emails I was supposed to do. I did do that blog. Do you know what? I did go into social media and I went down a bit of a rabbit hole. Okay, I do regret that. And maybe I did.
Do you regret it? I mean,
sometimes.
Do you regret it? Seriously?
Sometimes, yes. Sometimes I think, I had a glass of wine that led on to 2 glasses of wine and maybe 3, and then it's half a bottle or whatever. And you think, okay, I didn't need that. So sometimes there are things that I regret, and that's fine.
McDonald's,
yeah.
You get a bit of instant regret after a McDonald's. Oh.
Yeah. I've got food
Chocolate
at home.
bars.
Chocolate, 1 or 2 of them. But there's things that you do, and it's not the end of the world. And it's just a case of, okay,
small
Steve,
things.
maybe tomorrow, let's not do that. Let's get to bed on time, like you said you were going to do. Let's read that book, because you said you were going to read a chapter a night. Let's do that. Some things you could just be better. So let's do that. Because sometimes at the end of the day, I ask myself the question and I go, do you know what? It's been an awesome day. I got up early, did this, did that. I even went for a run. I didn't watch any television. I didn't get sucked into social media. It's been a good day. It's been a really good day. No regrets.
Starting your own business was an exciting time, wasn't it? The good days you had and the bad. You knew you'd have to work hard, but you did it for your future. Lately, though, you're missing out on the important things in life. Time seems to be slipping by. So make the change. Claim back your work-life balance and grow your business today. Visit actioncoach.co.uk.
You know what I got from that, actually? Little things can make a big difference. But the big thing is awareness. Be aware of your regrets. Ask yourself that question. Do the reflection. There was a book that was wrote. It wasn't a book. It was a research project, and the researched people's regrets in life. And in order to qualify for the research, you had to have less than 24 hours to live. Oh. And they found the 5 biggest regrets in life.
I bought it. Haven't read the book yet. How bad is that?
And one of the regrets is, I wish I'd have been true to myself and not what everyone else expected of me. Ooh. I wish I had the courage to tell the truth. I wish I'd let myself be happier. Wow. So look, no regrets, folks. You listen to this podcast right now, be aware. Small things make a big difference, and they can accumulate. Let's go to your book. Yeah. Let's go to your book here, because if we look at the golden journey, we've got the journey, the map, the vision, the soul, the gear, the gang, and the hour. These are all your golden vision, soul, gear, gang, and hour. Is this the journey? Yeah. Are they all catalysts for achievement?
Yeah. You do those, you will achieve anything you want to achieve. Play the piano, be a business owner, be a great partner, fit, healthy, lose weight, anything you want to achieve. They are the 5 winning ways that will empower you to do that.
Vision, soul, gear, gang, hour. Let's start with vision then.
Okay, your golden vision. What do you want? What do you want? So it's very much about knowing what your goal is. Can I just confirm? GOLD is an acronym for your goal, your opportunity, your love, your dream. What is that thing that you want?
And the 2 gold medals that you won.
With the 2 gold medals.
World Championship.
Yeah, the World Championship gold medals.
2011 and 2012.
Absolutely.
Premature talking about that, folks. We will talk about that shortly. Okay, so...
Yeah, knowing what your goal is, and as Rob would say, it's a bit of a perilous question. Paralyzes you because you just think, I don't know what that thing is that I want. It's a big question. So think about it, and you can go through your health, your wealth, your happiness. What is it that will get you out of bed at 5:30 in the morning? What is it that gets you passionate or frustrated? What is that thing that you're a little bit shy to share with other people? Because it's a bit of an embarrassing thing that you really want it, but also inside you'll get really excited about sharing. What is your goal? Because once you know what your goal is, the golden vision is to draw a picture. Just draw a picture, get a pen and paper and just sketch it out of you. Put you in the picture. Your brain needs to see you in the picture. That's how it works. If you can draw 2 pictures, where you are now and where you want to be. Where you are, and it can be stick people. Where you are now, you might be unhappy, might be a bit of a cloudy day, you might be overworked, not much time. But think about where you want to be in 5 years' time, 10 years' time. You want to be happy. Of course you want to be happy. Big smile on your face. What makes you happy? Maybe you're down to a 4-day week, 3-day week. Maybe you're even retired. Maybe you're going on more holidays. Maybe you're traveling around the world. Maybe you've got money. And there's nothing wrong with that. But what do you want to spend that money on? Do you want to do more volunteering work? Do you want to be healthier? Do you want to be fit? Do you want to be with your family more? Or maybe you've got your golden gown, which we'll come to in a bit. But who's around you to support you? Just draw a picture of what you want. And it can be whatever level. Start with stick people. You can put more detail to it. The more detail you put, the more colour you do to it, the better. The more you can visualise it.
I like it. A picture says 1,000 words, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
You draw the picture. It's going to take effort, folks, but in this book, it's beautiful because we've got 3 really distinct pictures and they're clearly your hand drawings. I'm going to hold this up to camera. You might not be able to see it from there on. So this picture here, have a look at that picture. Yeah. What is that picture?
So I was in hospital bed. My legs had been crushed. I was told that I may never walk again. I needed something positive to help me, to get me through this journey. And so I drew a picture of me standing again, of me walking again up a mountain, my crutches thrown to one side. I wasn't even on crutches. I was I wasn't even in a wheelchair, but I just wanted a picture. And do you know what, James? As I drew that picture, I got excited. I could feel something inside me that thought, this is what I want. For goodness sake, I want that. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here in this hospital bed. I don't want to listen to this advice, people saying I won't stand and walk again. That's rubbish. I've drawn a picture. This is what I really want. This is what I'm going to work towards. What do I need to do to make this happen? But getting that vision, getting that picture, that got me excited.
I've just had a bit of a wave of emotion. I feel like a bit of like an art analyzer walking through a museum here for a second. Let me just hold that up again, because I've just found a new level of appreciation here for your artwork. There's clearly you're on a mountain.
Yeah.
There's 3 birds that are in the sky. We're only seeing your back. Your hands are on your hips. Power.
But it's power stance.
Power stance. And look, I'm psychoanalyzing this.
Yeah, good.
You're in your shorts. The crutches are off to the side. Now that picture says so much.
Yeah.
And that's a feeling inside, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like I am getting there.
That got me through rehabilitation.
Well, not just that picture. Your artwork continues.
Yeah.
You've even drawn this picture.
Yeah, the artwork's got a bit better because it worked. I achieved my goal. I stood, I walked, and then I set new goals. I got into para-triathlon. I became British champion. I set new goals for myself. And my next goal in that journey was I wanted to become a world champion. And I knew what had happened in the past. I knew what worked in the past. I needed a vision. So I drew a picture of me crossing the finish line as a world champion.
Why did you want to become the world champion?
I saw the opportunity. Massive word there, opportunity.
What opportunity did you see? What is the opportunity of becoming world champion?
The opportunity of okay, I think this actually goes quite deep. Maybe a therapist or counsellor could like analyse this more. But I had a frustration. I was really angry about that car accident that happened in 2002. It changed my life. It never ruined it, but there was some anger there that I was quite happy where I was before, and it changed everything. I was trying to make that change into a positive, and so I was thinking at how I can do that. How can I make this thing into a positive thing? And I saw this opportunity to do para-triathlon and put 2 fingers up at the accident, to stand again, to walk again, now to swim, to bike, to cycle. I wanted to be as fast as I was before the accident. I didn't quite achieve it in the swim, the bike or run, but now as a triathlete, a para-triathlete, a disabled athlete, okay, right, so what can I do with this? Become British champion, all right, yeah, get a medal, that's 2 fingers. What else? European champion, all right. World champion, well, you can't get much bigger than that. That really proves any doubters out there that said that I wouldn't be able to achieve, any doubters that said you may never walk again, it proves to them that I can, and more than that. If somebody says you can't do something, do it twice and take photos. I love that.
Was that your purpose, proving that you can?
I think so. I think it was a massive part of it, yeah.
There's something in that, isn't there, for a sort of human motivation type thing? It's like
a red rag to a bull for me.
It works in sport. People see it in sport. The coach says to the athlete, I just don't know whether you're cutting it for the England team.
Yeah.
I don't know whether you're going to make your place. And that just sort of rumbles this inside, this satisfaction factor.
Totally.
That drives you forward.
Yeah.
So what was harder, winning the first World Championship or winning the second?
The second, because 2011 I won first championships in Beijing, China, and it was a great year. I won everything. 2012, it says in my autobiography, a tough year. It was a tough year. Everything was just getting on top, balancing work life, because I was working full time. I had a family with 2 kids, and I was an elite athlete, representing Great Britain.
When were your kids born?
2005, 2007. So, yeah, 3 years after the accident onwards.
What was that emotionally like at the time, bringing the kids up in the first few years? And
I think you'll probably find with me a lot of things are goal orientated. So it was a goal to have kids. And so I wanted to make sure that I was physically fit and able to have kids and to bring my kids up, to play football with my son in the garden, to go cycling with my kids, to do activities with my kid, to be there as a father figure. So I wanted to make sure that I was physically fit and well to have kids. So that was part of my goal, part of my journey, I would say. Having the kids was great. I had no doubt that I would have kids. It was just a case of when. And so 2005, 2007, and brilliant, And I do find as a father, well, I don't know whether it's the right thing to say, but in the first couple of years, I think it's very much mother orientated. I felt like a bit of a spare part, they're hovering around just like assisting and supporting. But once the kids grow up and become a little bit more robust, I can take them swimming, I can take them cycling, I can go for little jogs with them, I can do more physical things with them. And I love that. And I kind of incorporated that into my training. I remember getting up early on a Saturday morning. I would cycle down to the lake, go swimming in the lake, go for a run, and then come back. So I'd be back home by about 10, half 10. And I'd say to the kids, right, kids, what do you want to do today? And they say, Daddy, can we go swimming? And I go, yeah, okay, that's fine. And they say, can we cycle there? I'm like, geez, yeah, okay. And that was my endurance, was to keep going as a father, to make sure that I was doing as much as I could for the kids on top of everything I was doing for myself.
Well, look, the vision didn't stop there, did it? Because once you
on.
become world champion,
Yeah,
later on in life, you had a different vision again.
I did. So when I retired from international competition around 2014, and a lot of people said to me, Steve, what's next? It's always a big question with me now, is what's next? I'm always setting goals, working towards them. I've done, the world champion thing. So what's next if I've retired? I said, I really want to give back. I want to pay it forward. I want to complete the circle. I've got so much knowledge and expertise on how to achieve goals. Again, I think it's to make that bad thing of the accident into a good thing. So how can I tell that story, this clearly inspiring and motivating story? How can I get that out there to help other people? And I saw some speakers and I thought, this is what I wanted. I want to do something like that. I was like in a Superman pose. I was like, I want to be a motivational speaker. And people say, wow, this is incredible. How are you going to do that? I was kind of like stood in the pose. I was like, I haven't got a clue. I had no idea how I was going to do it. But I think...
How did you do it? How did you start?
Well, by that stage, I knew that if I wanted something enough, then I would make it happen. And so that's what I did. I started out on the journey and I started saying to people, I am a speaker. And I said, great. And eventually I got a booking, whether it's for the Rotary Club or for the Women's Institute or something small. But I started speaking at the smaller venues and it was such a buzz. And I joined the PSA, the Professional Speakers Association. And that was an amazing association, going into that room full of speakers. And they said to me, Steve, we have a competition. If you want to join this association, and I said, I am a little bit competitive, so this might work. 5 minutes, no slides. You get judged on your performance, your stagecraft, your interaction, everything. I said, it sounds like hell. Count me in. This is great. And that journey took me, that 6 months, taught me the skills, because I thought to be a speaker, you just need a good story and a lot of confidence. And I was wrong. I didn't get through the first round. And so I had to reapply. And eventually I got better and better and better. And I got through to the final and I got into that main stage. And I loved it. And I loved the buzz. It's like being a rock star, but also getting the message out there, the standing ovation. I thought, this is what I want to do going forward. But I don't want to be in the small venues. I wanted to be on the big venues, on the big stage with the big audience. So I drew a picture, as you see in the book. And I did 2 pictures of where I was and where I wanted to be. Because sometimes you've got to think about what repels you and what attracts you. Think about where you want to go. And a lot of people do not do that. Again, the 80-20 rule, only 20% of people focus on what they want to achieve. And 80% of people focus on what they want to avoid. So they say things like, I don't want to be poor. I don't want to be lonely. I don't want to be unhappy. Stop saying those words. Stop focusing on that. Stop concentrating. Turn it around and say, I want to be successful. I want to be popular. I want to be happy. What do I need to do that? Get that vision, get that picture and start focusing and working towards that. And that's what I did with that picture in the book. Drew that picture and started on that process. And the process is the business, the networking, the connections, the reaching out to people and doing the small gigs, the gigs for free. One of my friends, Andrew Bryant, calls it the 100 chicken dinners. 100 chicken dinners because you don't get paid, you just get a chicken dinner for free and you get to perform. So you do a lot of those and you get out there. The best way to become a speaker is word of mouth. You can have the most amazing website, logo, business cards, whatever. But until people have actually seen you, heard you and recommend you, that's when you get the bookings. And that takes flipping ages. And I'm still on that journey, 9 years down the line. But a couple of years into my journey, I spoke at this venue, this networking event, and there was a guy there, and he was from something called ActionCOACH, And he said, Steve, that was amazing. You're really good. Maybe you could come to our growth club. I said, yeah, that sounds good. So I went to the growth club and met a guy called John McHale. And so he said, Steve, that was great. Could you come and speak at another growth club? I did that. He says, I'm going to recommend you to speak at this thing called BizX 2019. And the journey took me all the way to BizX 2019, where I stood on that stage, just like in the picture that I'd drawn a couple of years before, on that big stage in front of the big audience with the big screen and the big lights. And he had one of those head mics that motivational speakers wear, as it is in the picture. And on that day, I achieved my goal, my opportunity, my love, and my dream of becoming a motivational speaker.
If you're an ambitious business owner eager to unlock the next level of growth, then the UK's biggest business event is the place you need to be to grow your business.
Hi, I am Rachel Riley, and I'm really pleased to tell you that I will be the host of BizX 2025. 3 days of speaker sessions, interactive events, and a few surprises along the way, so you are not going to want to miss it.
The event You Need to Grow Your Business is happening from the 2nd to the 4th of April in Farnborough. Tickets won't be available for long. Get more information by registering your interest at thebizx.co.uk. BizX 2025, where ambition meets action.
Yeah, and not only that, you've been blessing the world stages, since as well. I mean, but what I want to acknowledge is the lack of glamour along the way. 100 chicken dinners.
Yeah.
Get in your briefcase, excuse the pun, together and just walking out the door and being prepared to go through this to get to that. I mean, even some of the most successful people on the planet have had to. It's not glamour. I mean, Bill Gates. Yeah. At one point, Microsoft was a tiny business. He was a solopreneur at one point. He had a garage, he had a car, he had a lot of equipment, and he was getting turned away from things. And you've got to go through that point. And I just really appreciate after that. You have. So look, you've gone in absolute detail there about vision. So just give us the summary then of your golden soul.
Okay. So your golden soul is your why. Why? Why do you want this so much? The golden soul, there's five questions there that ask you deep down why you want this so much. What will it mean to you? What will it change? What will you gain? What will you lose? When will you know when you've achieved it? Why? Why do you want this so much? You've got to know why, because there will be some tough times when you're thinking, why on earth am I doing this? Why am I doing the tough times? Why am I grabbing my briefcase and my suitcase and traveling all that way for not much pay? Because it's an opportunity. Is it actually going to go anywhere? Who's going to be in that audience? You've got to believe it, and you've got to know why you're on that journey and why you're doing it. And it is to share that message, to inspire, and you can inspire one person in that audience, and that's why you're doing it for. And that might go somewhere and somewhere else and somewhere else. To get on that BizX stage in 2019, I think I backtracked it to doing about 7 free gigs. 7 gigs for no pay at all until I got that break. And sometimes you need to do those things, and then it goes. It's not the end there. You still got to keep going. But yeah, it's grabbing those opportunities all the time. So knowing why you're doing it is so important.
It certainly is. And then just give us the other part.
Okay, so the next one is your golden gear. The golden gear is all the stuff that you need to do. All the stuff. And I do this as a podium like picture. So you imagine the people who stood on the podium first, second and third, and they go, wow, yeah, they've achieved. Wow, look at them. They're amazing. You don't know what they've had to go through to get onto those podiums. So the podium is all the stuff below that. So the hard work, the failures, the early mornings, the late nights, the networking, the pain that you have to go through, whether it's rehabilitation, whether it's a business or anything like that, all that stuff. And yeah, it's a brainstorming exercise. What do I need to do? And when you haven't got all the answers, then ask somebody else. Who are you going to ask? Well, that brings us on to the next one, which is your golden gang. The golden gang is the people that you need. I've realised that I've always had a golden gang around me to succeed. I know I'm the one that sat here on this amazing podcast, but there's people around me that aren't here. Through my rehabilitation, I had the amazing NHS that saved my life, that helped me through, held my hand, had my family and my friends that helped me all the way through that. I did the hard work. They told me what to do. As an elite athlete, I had so many practitioners that got me to the start line, that also helped me to cross that finish line and grab that gold medal. So many people as an elite athlete, and now as a business owner, I have so many people in my golden gang. Rob Pickering, my coach, who's guiding me, supports me all the time. But more than that, I have people like I have my accountant, my marketing. I was talking earlier about having a stylist. And then you build it up with other speaker members. I have my mastermind group. And I'm collecting these people all the time. And the message there in the book is know who you've got in your golden gang, who's helped you to get to where you are, okay? Congratulate yourself and thank them. It's always good to say thank you. But then think about who you want. Because if you want to go further than you are, you're going to need more members. Yeah. So who are those members? Again, brainstorm. Who would you want? If you could have anybody on the planet, who would you want in your golden gang? Write them down, maybe draw a picture, maybe find them on LinkedIn, and then start working towards connecting with them, asking them for help. Some of them might say no, some of them might say yes, and then that's it. You add it to your golden gang. And the last one is your golden hour. Your golden hour is very much about thinking about where you want to be in the big picture, 5 years' time. You know where that is, beautiful picture, and you're happy and you're smiling, great. That's where you want to be in 5 years' time. Where do you need to be in 4 years' time to make that happen? Where do you need to be in 3 years, 2 years? Where do you need to be at the end of this year to make that dream come alive? The end of this month, this week, today. What do you need to do today to make that 5-year plan come to fruition?
Is there anything else that you need to give us out of the book here?
There's loads. I think within the book, there's my journey is entwined with all of those messages, and there's lots of quotes as well and lots of tools. One thing, I think sometimes it's nice to contradict what you're saying, and I think Dame Kelly was talking about it on one of the other podcasts, was about neg-med, which is about thinking about, neg-med to me is negative meditation, thinking about all the negative things, the things that scare you. Think about it, and then once you know what those things are that are holding you back, that are barriers, hurdles, that you don't really want to do, that you're avoiding, procrastinating, admit it, accept that they're there. And once you accept them, then you can do something about it. The thing that makes me nervous is being on time. There's a big thing. Getting to the venue on time, being at this podcast on time. All right, let's book the train ticket. Let's get to London early. Let's make sure that we're here on time. Now I can relax.
And by the way, you were really on time. You were really well on time today.
But that relaxes me. And everybody's different. I get that. But find out what that thing is that really winds you up, that makes you nervous, and sort that stuff out. And if you're struggling, then ask for help for that. Do the negative meditation. And it is quite hard to do. But once you've sorted all those negative things out, all you've got left is the positive things. That's a great thing.
It's quite powerful, that is. Once you've sorted the negative, all you've got left is positive. So be honest, what's holding you back, and do the neg-med.
The neg-med, negative meditation.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
What's been the hardest lesson that you've had to learn?
Oh my goodness. The hardest lesson that I've had to learn. I guess, various things just popping into my mind. Is not being 100% perfection. You can't be perfect all the time. I think that the most perfect I've been is when I was an elite athlete becoming world champion, because, I was world champion, champion of the world. You can't get much higher than that. But I think realistically, being 100% is almost a myth. And I want to speak about that on this podcast, because I think a lot of people think that is the destination to be 100%. By all means, go for it. But there's nothing wrong with being 80%. And that's a message that I'm trying to get out at the moment. I don't know how exactly to phrase it. It's kind of work in progress. But it comes down to the fact of being authentic. And I think being authentic means that you're more relatable. If you're 100%, if you're up there, people can't relate to you and go, well, they're way off. Whereas if you say, look, I'm not perfect. Some days I have low days. Some days I don't want to get out of bed at 5:30. Sometimes I don't achieve all my goals. I get to the end of the year and I don't achieve all my goals. And, I do New Year's resolutions, but actually I've stopped doing some of them already, and we're not even through January. But not all of them. I'm not saying I just stop doing everything and that I've failed. I just don't do 100%. I do 80%. And I think admitting that to myself, and bigger, admitting to that to my followers, whether that's on Facebook Live or through my blogs or through my social media, I think is really important, so that people can see that I'm an 80% person, and that's fine.
Look, your journey it was a sad day, back in 2002, that Sunday afternoon. You know, it could have happened to anyone.
Yeah.
You weren't speeding.
Yeah.
It just happened. And, you know, from that point on, it's been a journey of overcoming adversity through resilience and remarkable achievements and success that have followed it.
Yeah.
You know, and you are making a significant difference to other people. What's the most beautiful thing about resilience?
The most beautiful thing about resilience is, okay, so it's about following the wave of resilience. So it will drag you down, as we've already talked, you know, with the anger, the sharing, the rock bottom, the acceptance and moving forward. But the most beautiful thing about going through the wave of resilience is you'll end up on a higher plane. You'll end up higher than where you started. I mean that going through some bad times, going through the wave of resilience will take you to a better place. That means that sometimes adversity will shove you out of your journey, out of line of where you're going, and that's life, okay? But there's times also when you need to push yourself out. You need to push yourself out of your comfort zone to make things happen. And yes, you will go through dark times and you will be dragging yourself through those, but at the end of the day, you'll be on a higher plane than where you started. That's how you get higher and higher and higher. It's by going through the loop and then up, and then loop and then up again, over and over and over again. You do it correctly, that's what you'll achieve.
Yeah, and look, you have achieved a lot. So, double world champion.
Yep.
Speaking on global stages.
Absolutely.
How do you define success now?
Success is very much about being the best that you can be and living life with no regrets, whatever that means to you. And only you can answer that. Only you can say, you know, whether you regret your day or not. You know, maybe you didn't send all those emails out and you didn't do that blog on your business and you didn't do all of that because you spent too much time with your family. Oh, that's not a bad thing, is it? Too much time with your family. So maybe that's a good thing. Only you can answer. Maybe you didn't go for that run because, you know, you're too busy with your work. Maybe you can go for a run tomorrow or something. Maybe that's not a bad... Only you can answer this no regrets and being the best that you can be. You won't achieve everything in your life. I get that. But as long as you achieve things along the way, as long as you're the best that you can be, then you can't say fairer than that. And you will get to the end of your days and you will have no regrets. And the person that you could have been will be the person who was a waste of space, because that's not you.
Should that be the headline for this podcast?
Oh, what's that?
No regrets. Be the best that you can be.
Absolutely. I have a wall at home and I put all my quotes that I love, my quotes, other people's quotes, on the wall. Black Sharpie, white wall. I get very nervous because I'm terrible at spelling. But I write them all on the wall. I'll send you a photo of it later. And bizarrely, right in the middle of this wall, just by coincidence, are the words no regrets. I think everything in life and quotes and motivation is round the no regrets. And part of that is being the best that you can be. Everybody is different. Don't compare yourself to other people.
We've got the headline nailed then.
Okay, good.
You know, now they've listened to this podcast, though, they've got to take an action point. So what's the call to action? What's the action point that you're going to recommend for every listener right now?
Oh, my goodness. Okay. Well, I think the thing that I really want people to do is that golden vision. So just let's get a pen, let's get some paper, and let's do a sketch. Just do that. Do that today. By the end of the day, draw a picture of where you want to be in 5 years' time. Start with you in the middle, you, stick person, and a smiley face, big smiley face, and just think about what makes you happy. What will make you happy in 5 years' time? Take it from there. And to be honest, you know, they could even take a photo of it and they could send it into you, put it on social media, hashtag me in or something. That'd be great.
We'll all comment
Let's
on
do
it.
Yeah.
And in fact, get the book, Gold, Steve Judge. Turn to page 41 and you can take some inspiration on the first of his golden visions in there. We have shared them to the camera. And speaking of books, minus your book, and Brad Sugar's quoted on the front of the book as well.
Oh, my mate Brad. Yeah.
Your mate Brad. What's the best book you've ever read?
The best book that I've ever read, Blink by Malcolm Gladwell.
Yeah.
Okay, it was one of the first, but I'd never read.
He was Outliers as well.
Yeah, I'd never read like a business book or a feel-good or personal development book. And I was on holiday, I had nothing else to read. I picked that book up and it changed my life. I was like, wow, this subconscious thing, what's going on? It was so bizarre and weird, and I loved that book. Should read it again, I guess. But that set me on that journey to read many, many other books like Atomic Habits, like various Mindfulness Morning, is that it?
The Miracle Morning.
Miracle Morning, thank you. That one as well. Lots of other books that have inspired me, but I think Blink was the first one on that journey. So go for that.
It's, the first book that gets you on the self sort of development and personal growth journey.
Yeah.
It's like your first love, really, isn't
it?
You always remember it.
Yeah.
You always remember it. My favourite part of this session, I love the headline that we've come up with there, by the way.
Cool.
But I think my favourite part is acknowledging the 100 chicken dinners that you've got to go through. Do you know why? Because it's not glamorous, and most people give up.
Yes. Yeah, they do.
And you didn't.
Yeah.
You were prepared to do the 100 chicken dinners to get to this point. It's been my favourite bit. What's been your favourite part of the interview?
I love that bit as well, because I think that dragged me through last year. Last year was a tough year. I had some mental health issues as well in April that sent me off track. I got myself back on track. I asked for help, big thing, therapy, counselling, but then the tenacity, the not giving in, the determination, the grit, all of that, and that comes down to the 100 chicken dinners. Let's go back to basics. Let's do the networking events and stuff like that. Let's do it bit by bit. And again with the help with Rob Pickering to say you just got to go for every gig that you could get and just get yourself back on track. And I've got to the end of this year, and now this year, I know we've only just started, but I'm so excited, so hopeful for this year. So I think getting the message out there that it's not an easy journey. And I know with the people that are watching, this podcast, probably Generation X, but it's the Generation Z and Alpha generation that think that life is easy, and they just want to be rich, and they want to be successful, and they want to be a superstar and a YouTube and stuff like that. And you go, yeah, you can draw a picture, of course, but then you've got to do the hard work. And I don't think they realise that. And I think they've got to realise that. They've got to find that thing that they love, the golden soul, and just go for it. And just don't give in, like a dog with a bone.
Your why, your purpose, your golden soul.
Absolutely.
Steve Judge, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you very much, James.